So we find ourselves here once again. Escuerdo's leader is dead, and now they need a new one. They held another election, but it was very different because one person entirely swept the polls. Grenade. He made a lot of promises like cleaning up the country, avoiding war, and especially hating against Leaf. But he had actually secretly admired Leaf for what he had done. Hey, Mr. But the difference between Leaf and Grenade is that Grenade was a calculated psychopath. And he knew saying that would definitely not make him win. So when he won, he was actually working on cleaning up the country. It took a while, but that was good because Pora and Serto's guards were beginning to drop. Now that he knew that their guards were down, he immediately broke the pact by expanding the military beyond the limit. He knew he wouldn't be able to take on Orange, so he turned his attention to Pipe. Hey guys, wouldn't it be so cool if we went to war? What? No, you can't just... The public was pretty easy to convince too with propaganda because the public is stupid. He went for a naval sneak attack because telling your enemies that they suck and you're gonna kick their ass is a stupid idea. But there was a tiny problem. It's the fact that their navy sucked. Sir, the boat is flooding. Okay, then drink the water. We're also all dying of disease. Okay, then here, have some NyQuil. There's also a massive tidal wave coming to kill us. Then, wait, what? After building up his navy, he knew Pipe was a bitch, and his plan was to hide on this island, then cause a huge racket on this part, and then when Pipe's army would inevitably come, he would just swoop in, crush them, and then take over. And while the racket part was going well, the sneaking around the islands wasn't going too good at all. Another storm had come, so they had to settle on a different island, and the island they settled on was really marshy and disgusting. And many troops were dying of disease, but luckily the racket part was going surprisingly well because they were defeating Pipe's army. This was bad for Pipe. So he went over to Orange to ask for some help. Hey, Orange, do you think you could help me out? Yeah, Orange? Oh no. Orange had suffered a stroke, but he wasn't dead. He was just hospitalized, meaning that he couldn't run the country, so Vice President Lemon took over. He wasn't too familiar with warlike affairs, so he opted to stay out of it and just offered supplies. Grenade caught wind of this and was like, hey, stop that. No. Please? No. Pretty please? No. Pretty please with a cherry on top? No. Damn it! So instead he just intercepted the supplies. And by then the storm had finally cleared. So they decided to meet up, which wasn't the original plan, but it was good enough. They used the momentum they had to just push through Pipe, and he was not ready for this at all. So he just blasted through. But keeping this advance was an entirely different problem. So by the time Pipe finally gathered his bearings, he pushed him right back. Grenade knew he was gonna need someone to help with all this military stuff, so he hired Maple Leaf, aka Leaf's cousin, and he knew this wouldn't go down well with the public, so he hired a different executive to be kind of the mask over him. He took a page out of Leaf's book and decided to make it look like there was a weakness in his offensive line. Pipe, desperate for an ending to this, charged right at it, which is exactly what he wanted, and he got crushed. And this was it. An opening. They were gonna win. Yeah! They were both completely unprepared for the winter. But luckily for Pora, they were in northern countries, so they were far more prepared for this. They both rushed to get their soldiers' winter gear, and Pipe beat him to it, so he started pushing back on them. Of course, this would not go without retaliation, because the first force to get their winter gear was ordered by Maple Leaf to just hold their ground and be a thorn in Pipe's side. It would go down as the Blizzard Battle due to the fact that a horrible blizzard had set in by the time the battle started. Due to the blizzard, they couldn't exactly see each other, until one guy in Pora was like, fuck it, and took a shot and completely missed and gave away their location. Escuerdo charged right at them and ended up pinning them against an ice lake. With no other choice, they attempted to cross, but completely failed and they all drowned. Winning this battle was huge for Grenade, and pretty soon Escuerdo started gaining some ground. Pipe's army was told to stay in a defensive position, which they held, and Grenade tried everything to push through, but it just was not working. So his next plan was to air raid a bunch of cities, hoping that this would drop their morale. But alas, they still stayed strong. So Maple Leaf came up with the idea to go around and then attack them from behind. But Pipe got tipped off by an insider that was happening, so he counter-attacked them and stopped the whole thing completely. But now Grenade knew that one of his executives was a mole. He kinda got paranoid about this, but he only trusted Maple Leaf, so he told Maple Leaf about this plan that he had. He would have a top-secret plan and a tippy-top-secret plan. The tippy-top-secret plan was to use spy planes to find out where their supplies are coming from and bomb them so they'd starve out. The top-secret plan was to go around to a different island and attack them. Only him and Maple Leaf knew about the tippy-top secret plan, but he told the top secret plan to all his executives. But the top secret plan would basically be kind of a decoy. He didn't use too many boats for it and used captured Pora soldiers on the boats so that way they wouldn't lose any soldiers of their own. And the plan went perfectly. Pora showed up and exploded the boats, completely oblivious to the real problem. And sure enough, Escuerdo bombed their storage units, and pretty soon they were going to be starving. And Lemon knew he was going to have to up his game if he didn't want to lose their ally. So he tried desperately to push through Grenade's barrier, but nothing he did worked. Ha! Take that. What are you gonna do now? I guess I'll just fly over the supplies. Alright, you win this one, Lemon. Knowing he didn't have much time left, he just pushed straight at Pora. He broke their defensive line and just kept on pushing. Luckily enough for them, they finally caught the mole. Executive Garrett intercepted some phone calls and found out that it was Floyd.
Void.
He left a note. Alright, you caught me, but this isn't the end. I'll be working for Pipe now since you've mistreated me all this time. Also, Maple Leaf, if you're reading this, Grenade was making out with a picture of your cousin. We don't need to read that anymore. Esquerdo had pushed Pora to its limit, and it was at the very edge of completely giving up and running out of supplies. And they were doing everything they could to stop the supplies from getting to Pora. And it worked. On December 27th, Pora had fallen, and it was now in the hands of Grenade.